Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy LT the Sage coming to you with another video, and they did just release the 6.0 patch notes for the PvE and PvP actions for all of the new jobs, including Sage and Reaper, as you saw in the thumbnail. So we're gonna go ahead and go through all of these, and for those people who just want to see what those actions are for Sage and Reaper, we're gonna touch on those first. But if you want to stay, we're gonna do a quick level guide through all of the jobs if you want to stay through the whole video. So I appreciate you guys stopping through. Let's go ahead and jump into Sage the Healer. So the caption here: the nation of Sharlayan is the cradle of knowledge, and the studium, its foremost institution of learning, yet more so than its incomparable library and formidable assemblage of archons. This prestigious academy is framed for blending traditionally distinct fields to produce revolutionary new disciplines. Among these, perhaps the most distinguished, is an altruistic art which draws upon the wisdom of aetherology, sorcery, and medicine, dubbed semiotics. Semiotics. The art seeks to heal and protect by manipulating corporeal aether through the use of glyphs, a flying array of fauci. Practitioners are dedicated to the betterment of mankind, and for their wisdom and compassion, eventually came to be known simply as sages. So as you guys know, my name is LTD Sage, or Storm Sage in combat. And so you guys know that this is a near and dear added job for me. So I'm super excited. So let's go ahead and jump into their spells. Dosis is one of the first spells you're going to be getting. Now check out these icons. These icons are pretty lit. Diagnosis looks like it's your standard cure spell. Cardia, again, these are some of the lower leveled heals and different things that you get. Remember, when we talked about this, Sage is going to heal based on the damage that you're putting out and damage that you're using. Now, I have shown or seen that some of these effects have been added. So cure potencies and damage potencies have been raised since the test that people got a chance to look at. So it looks like from what we know, Sage is going to be hitting just a teeny bit harder. But again, we'll have to look at the numbers once we get in. Prognosis is level 10, Azero level 12, Physis level 20. It's an instant cast. Gradually restores own HP, the HP of all nearby party members. So it looks like a dot that you can apply in a cone. So similar to some of Scholars and all the healers, to be honest, have this type of ability. Phlegma. So Phlegma, you have your Eucrasia, augment certain offensive and healing magic actions. Dosis, diagnosis, and prognosis is all updated to Eucrasian dosis, diagnosis, and prognosis. So we're gonna have that already. Remember, this class starts at level 70. So these add the Eucrasian abilities to these. So you're gonna have those off rip. Soteria, increase the cure potency of Cardian effects granted by you by 50%. So that's just gonna up your healing by 50%. That's really nice. Icarus, rush, that is that pretty sweet air dash you see sages do. And then Drutroli, restore target's HP. Dyscrasia, deals unexpected damage with a potency of 160 to all nearby enemies. So this one specifically, I believe is the one where he shot the lasers up and they rained and came down to the floor. Curacholi is looks like our soiled ground one for a sacred ground ability. Curacholi. I'm gonna have to come up with some real nicknames for some of these abilities, like Curacholi. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Ixacholi restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members. Zoe, that's easy. Increase healing magic potency in your next healing spell by 50%. So it's interesting. We have Soteria is specifically for Cardian effects by 50%, and Zoe is specifically for healing magic potencies in general by healing spells by 50%. So as a controller player, I'm gonna come out with some type of guide or just some of my tips on where to put some of these on the crossbar on your controller. I use PlayStation, but I also have for the Xbox controller guys out there. Pepsi, so I'm just kidding. I know it's not Pepsi. Pepsis restores own HP and HP of nearby party members while removing your Eucrasian diagnosis and your Eucrasian prognosis effects granted by you. Interesting. Physis 2, okay, level 60, we get our Physis 2. Toro Choli, and that's our 62 instant ability. Toxicon deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies with a potency of 300 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Additional effect restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardian. So anybody you have effect under Cardian, even when you're doing damage, will get a little bit of a 170 cure potency on them, which is nice. But it does cost an adder sting, one of your adder stings. Hama erects a magic barrier around self or target party member that absorbs damage equivalent to a heal of 300 potency. So there goes some of the shielding. So Haima is a level 70 ability. So that's it. So at this point, that's all you're gonna have. You're gonna have all of these abilities, all of these items, creation doses, everything. You're gonna have everything up to this point. So we will have our little barrier, stacking barrier is completely absorbed. A stack of Handmaton is consumed and a new barrier is applied. With effect duration expires, a healing effect is then applied. So pretty much a double, it looks like it has a little bit of a double barrier option, but once it's completely absorbed, a stack of those Handmatons is consumed and a new barrier is applied. And then when that effect duration expires, a healing effect is added at the end of the barrier. So this is a very strong ability. So Haima is going to be one of your main, I think, tank givers for tank busters, etc. in the early going. So when you first started playing, keep Haima in your mindset. Dosis 2. So Dosis 2 deals unaspected damage with a potency of 320. Additional effect restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardian granted by you. So that's going to be some of the ones we're going to level up. Felgma 2. So Felgma gets an upgrade at 72. Oh, Eucrasia Dosis 2. So all of these get an upgrade as of 72. That's a big level up for Sages. Rizomata grants 1 stack of Adder's Gall. So pretty easy. Every class, mostly every class has this. A quick button to add stacks of whatever your class ability or classes is. Holos restores own HP and HP all nearby members. Reduces damage taken by self and nearby party members with 10%. So this is a AoE heal, but it gives you damage resistance. It looks like it is a 120 second cooldown. So it's one of the bigger cooldowns. It's a party-wide cooldown. This is a AoE ability, so it's gonna heal, but the main effect is reduces that damage taken by 10%. Panhaima, this is a job quest. Erects a magic barrier around self and all party members near you that absorbs damage equivalent to a heal of 200 potency. Grants 5 stacks of Panhamadon. When the barrier is completely absorbed, a stack of... Okay, so this is what we need to find out, okay? What we need to know. And this is a 120 second cast time, so this isn't something... this is really, really for mitigation. What we need to find out is if you can stack Haima and Panhaima, but it looks like Panhaima may be an upgraded Haima. So we'll have to take a look at that and see, but we're not too sure, but it looks like if you can stack both of them together, that's actually pretty ignorant, but it looks like it's just an upgraded Haima. Dosis 3, so 82 is when you start getting into your Dosis 3, higher damage for sure. Again, grants your Cardian partner, your Carter partner, cure potency of 170, a Felgma 3, and your Krasis Dosis 3. So gives you an idea of what you're looking at for upgrades, your Dosis, Felgma, and your Eucrasian Dosis, Dyscrasia as well. Pretty much once you get to level 90, that 80 to 90 grind, you're going to be getting upgraded abilities from what you already have. So not too worried about your hot bars or your crossbars with this. Toxicon 2, again, another updated ability of something you already have. So again, it shouldn't be taking up too much room on your hot bars. And then it looks like a new ability here, Krasis. Krasis increases HP recovery via healing actions for a party member or self by 20%. So that's a 60%, little extra oomph to your healing abilities there. And then Pneuma. Or is it just Pneuma? Is the P silent? The P's probably Simon, right? I just look like an idiot. Pneuma deals unexpected damage to all enemies in a straight line before you with a potency of 330 for the first enemy and 40% less for all remaining enemies. That's really nice. And that's your Goku laser beam right there. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Role actions updated. Lucid Dreaming has been updated as the role actions here for Sage, and new traits. So just check the traits real quick. Level 45, you'll get Adder's Gall stacks. That's when you'll start getting your stacks. So again, the class starts at level 70. So you're gonna always have your Adder Gall stack. Mechanic, Somatic Oath at level 54 increases potency of doses to 250, Felgma to 330, and Eucrasia doses to 35. We already know about that. Physis Mastery upgrades those Physis to Physis 2. Now, what I wanted to see is, okay, so the first one we get is Offensive Magic Mastery. This upgrades doses to doses 2, Felgma to Felgma 2. And your Eucrasian doses to your Eucrasian doses 2. Also increases the potency of Toxicon to 300. Those adds a little bit of extra oomph to your attacks, those damage stacks as well. Enhanced Carachole adds an additional effect of Carachole that grants healing over time. So it adds a hot on top of the people in the shield. So that's pretty cool. While you're in this Carachole, your shield, you're going to be getting a hot as well. Offensive Magic Mastery 2. So 10 levels after 72. Once you get to 82, you start doing that new content. You're going to get an even bigger up for doses to doses 3, Felgma to Felgma 3, Eucrasian doses to Eucrasian doses 3, Dyscrasia to Dyscrasia 2, and Toxicon to Toxicon 2 as well. Enhanced Healing Magic at level 85 increases the healing potency of Diagnosis to 450 and Cardia to 170. So that's going to raise those that Cardia effects, those secondary effects on your abilities. That Cardia attachment is going to update to 170. Also increases the strength of barriers granted by Eucrasian Diagnosis to 180%. The amount of HP restored and Eucrasian Prognosis to 320% the amount of HP restored. So a lot of buffs here on level 85 for Sage. So once you get to level 85, your healing and your pretty much your healing from your damage is going to be a lot higher. So 85 seems to be a good cutway point for most players. Enhanced Zoe reduces Zoe recast time to 90 seconds. So that's pretty cool. Zoe is going to be, if you look up here, Zoe is our healing magic potency up by 50%. So that's going to you're going to be able to run that more. And the two gauges you're going to have to know is the Eucrasia gauge. You will be able to view the Eucrasia gauge, strengthens doses, diagnosis, and prognosis, which change action effects depending on what you use. And then you have your Addergall's gauge. Upon learning Addergall's, you'll have those stacks. Addergall increases over time. You can use the amount accumulated to execute several actions such as Druchole and Carachole. So you'll need those Addergall stacks in order to utilize those attacks. When you learn the trait Adder Sting, it will become visible on Addergall's gauge. Adder Sting is accumulated when a magic barrier from Eucrasian Diagnosis disappears after nullifying damage. You can use the amount accumulated to execute several actions such as Toxicon and Toxicon 2. And they have a simple mode for you guys who like the simple actions as well. All right, and I'll have a timestamp down below. We're done with Sage, but if you wanted to jump, if you have just kicked in and wanted to learn more about Reaper, then Reaper is starting off here. So we'll go over the Reaper information, all of the job actions, everything we see there, and then go through some of the skill sets for you guys, because I know those are the two ones you guys are really wanting to jump into. The Garlean's forebears were once humble farmers who made their home among the sun-drenched fields of southern Ilzabard. That was until they were driven from their paradise by invaders wielding arcane magics. Forced north into the frigid mountains, the survivors sought a means to tap into the reservoir of Aether, otherwise closed to them. A daring few found their answer within the void, binding themselves to its creatures to gain verboten power fed by the souls of the slain. Once more they took up their scythes, this time to reap a crimson harvest. Pretty nice little, someone really went off on that speech, man. I like it. All right, so Again, we're going to go over these job actions. You start off with Slice, Waxing Slice, Shadow of Death, Harpe, and Hell's in Grace. And these are all your weapon skill attacks. Harpe is a spell, so maybe the distance, maybe one of the, the kind of like the Dark Knight shots that you can do. Hell's E-Grace. So there's In-Grace and E-Grace. That's the portal. That's level 20. That's pretty cool. You're never going to be a level 20 Reaper, but that's pretty cool that you learn it so early. And some of these early level abilities are kind of, it doesn't matter. Anything below 70, you're going to have it already ready to rock. So Spinning Scythe delivers an attack with a potency of 140 to all nearby enemies. Infernal Slice delivers an attack with a potency of 140. Combo action with Waxing Slice. Waxing Slice increases soul gauge as well. Whirl of Death, and that looks like that's that circle one that we saw in the job action trailer. Arcane Crest grants Crest of Time borrowed to self, creating a barrier that nullifies damage. So this is kind of like the Samurai's eye barrier that you can erect instant, and it looks like it's a 30-second cast time. And again, as you can see here, the duration is 5 seconds. That's a pretty good window to take on attacks. Nightmare Sight delivers an attack with a potency to 120 to all nearby enemies. Looks like that's our AoE attack. A Blood Stalk summons your avatar to deliver an attack with a potency of 340. That's pretty cool. It's going to be using that's the avatar in the back. Grim Swathi summons your avatar to deliver an attack with a potency of 140 to all enemies that come before you. That's going to be a little bit of an AoE as well. So it looks like maybe there's going to be specific Reaper or Soul Reaver or avatar. I guess we're using the word avatar. Your avatar is going to be able to do abilities as well. That's going to be for AoE purposes and maybe not. So that's going to be interesting. Soul Slice and Soul Scythe. And then it looks like Gibbet, I like the name of that, delivers an attack with a potency of 400, 460 when executed from a target's flank. So this is going to be a flank. You're going to want to Gibbet on the back of them. And there seems to be additional effects. Increases your shroud gauge by 10 and can only be executed while under the effect of Soul Reaver. A Gallows, send him to the gallows, delivers an attack with a potency of 400, and it needs to be this is target's flank, so that's side, and then this is the target's rear. The action Bloodstalk changes to Unveiled Gibbet while under the effect of Enhanced Gibbet, increases shroud gauge by 10, can only be that's the Soul Reaver. So these are your attacks once you transform into your mode. These looks like the abilities you're going to be using, and while you're in that mode, you're going to make sure you want to hit the flanks, hit the rears for Gallows, and then for Guillotine, deliver an attack with a potency 200 all enemies in a cone before you. And this one is an AoE, so it will hit multiple, but again, only can be done while under effect of Soul Reaver. All right, here we go. So 70, so these are all 70. So you're going to have these available to you. As soon as you get the class, you'll have that Soul Reaver ability. And also you get Unveiled Gibbet, which is Unveiled Gallows, and Arcane Circle. So these are all going to be, let's look at Arcane Circle real quick. Increases damage dealt by self and nearby party members by 3%. Let me see if this is, okay, and allows you to accumulate stacks of Immortal Sacrifice from party members under the effect of your Circle of Sacrifice. Wow, so there is going to be this is an ability. So there's a lot here. There's a lot here at Reaper, and it's definitely interesting. We're going to get a lot of tools right away. And that Arcane Circle is level 72. And then Regress 74, move instantly to the Hell's Gate left behind by you. Can only be executed while under the effect of Threshold. So this gives you the ability to go backwards. I think the other teleport ability is showed was only from one point to another. Regress will allow you to go back to the point that you had your portal prior to. Pretty cool. A lot of mobility for a melee class. Gluttony at level 76 summons your avatar to deal unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 500 for the first enemy and 25% less for all remaining enemies. So again, grant you 2 stacks of Soul Reaver, and again, it is an AoE, so this is definitely going to be your Gluttony or your avatar AoE spender once you hit level 76. Level 80 is a job quest. That's going to be Enshroud. Offer your flesh as a vessel to your avatar, gaining maximum stacks of Lemur Shroud. Certain actions cannot be executed while playing host to your avatar. So this is going to be an ability instant, but once you enshroud yourself with your avatar, it's going to give you maximum stacks on Lemur Shroud, so you can do more actions within your, I would believe, your transformation. Void Reaping delivers an attack with a potency of 460, enhanced Void Reaping potency 520, grants enhanced Cross Reaping. You get a lot of stuff here when you get level 80. Grants Void Shroud, can only be executed while under the effect of Enshrouded. Lemur Shroud cost, so you get 1 Lemur Shroud cost for using Void Reaping. Cross Reaping also looks like it's a single target attack as well. Wow, there's a lot going on here with Reaper. Reaper is very in-depth. Looks like a lot of things are needed to activate other items. And looking at it on here, it does look a little confusing. I wonder if a lot of these are going to turn into the other thing once you get into combos. But for controller, I can already tell you now, you're going to want to have the right hand side for your main basic abilities, and then you're going to want to hit that R1 button to tab over to the next slot and have the same ability slotted for the Reaper style of gameplay. So you want to make sure you really get a good feel for, tabbing in between one or another for your configurations, and I'll figure out something good for Reaper for you guys. Grim Reaping delivers an attack potency of 200 all enemies to a cone before you, so this is gonna instill a AoE. Now once you get to 82, we're gonna get Soul Sal. Grants Soul Sal to self, changing the action to Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 600 for the first enemy and 300 for all remaining enemies. That is a very strong AoE, Harvest Moon. So that's going to be a instant one of your AoE attacks for sure, and you don't get that till 82. So one of the first abilities you get when the new content. Lemur's Slice delivers an attack with a potency of 200, and Void Shroud, you cost some Void Shroud now, 2 of them. All right, and then Lemur Slice. So you get two options. Lemur Slice is a regular attack, and then this Lemur Scythe is an AoE attack. So gives you options there for what you want to add into your rotation. Plentiful Harvest, here we go. Weapon skill, level 88. Delivers an attack to all enemies in a straight line before you with a potency of 520 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. Potency increases up to 800 as stacks of Immortal Sacrifice exceed minimum cost. So we're gonna have to see what those Immortal Sacrifice stacks are, but this can go up to 800 with a 60% less for AoE damages. And this is gonna be you wanna use this attack anytime you have a mob of enemies, AoE in, or even single target. 800 potency is nothing to snarf at. Communio deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby it. Look at this. With a potency of 1000 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. Enshrouded effect expires upon execution. So that enshrouded effect is going to expire. So this is your finale finish show. And we've seen this finish show. We've seen this one in the live action trailer where the things curve up and kind of just curve in on your target, and looks like it's going to be doing hella damage. All right, and we know this one, the Faint ability instant, has been the one that's been updated. All right, let's look at these traits. Soul Gauge and Death Scythe Mastery. These two are, you don't even get a trait till 50-60, but enhanced, and this is just to help out with, I would imagine, lower tier dungeon runs to make sure you have these things available if you ever get into those situations. Enhanced Avatar. So let's see what our first trait is at level 70. Grants the effect of Soul Reaver upon successfully landing Bloodstalk or Grimswath. Okay, perfect. Hell's Gate. Upon executing Hell's Ingress or Hell's Egress, leave behind a Hell's Gate and grant threshold to self. Duration 10 seconds. Hell's Ingress changes to Regress after executing Hell's Egress and vice versa. So they're interchangeable, basically. Tempered Soul allows the accumulation of charges for consecutive uses of Soul Slice and Soul Scythe. Okay, nice. And that's 78. So 80 is when we get the Shroud Gauge. Allows for Shroud Gauge accumulation upon landing of Gibbet, Gallows, or Guillotine. So that is going to get you Shroud Gauge accumulation, and you'll be able to go into the modes. But remember, guys, that's level 80. So it looks like transformation or some of those abilities aren't going to be available until you at least get 10 levels up. Enhanced Arcane Crest. So this is the shield you're getting, a la Blackest Night. The grants Crest of Time return to self and nearby party members, gradually restoring HP over time. This effect is only granted when the Crest of Time borrow barrier is completely absorbed. So you have to make sure that whatever's hitting you is hitting you hard, but that will give you additional effects, which is nice. A little bit of a self-mitigation tool, as well as team buff ride for dire situations. You can pop that. And then 86, Enhanced Shroud. So I believe we don't get a ability or a attack at this one. So Enhanced Shroud grants Void Shroud upon landing Void Reaping, Cross Reaping, or Grim Reaping. So I'm going to give you some Void Shroud stacks, gives you additionals for the attacks successfully landed. And Enhanced Arcane Circle grants Circle of Sacrifice to you and nearby party members upon executing Arcane Circle. When you are a party member under this effect, successfully land a weapon skill or cast a spell, you may gain a stack of Immortal Sacrifice up to a maximum of 8. So this is going to help you with your Immortal Sacrifice stacks when you are in that circle. And this does help you with mages as well as weapon skills from other melee counterparts. And then the combos, it's just giving you some ideas of combo. Spinning Scythe into Nightmare Scythe. This is your standard. This is going to be your early standard AoE rotation, and Slice, Waxy Slice into Infernal Slice. It's going to be your standard 1, 2, 3 punch, as most classes except for healers have. And then the Soul Gauge and Shroud Gauge are the 2 gauges. And then the Death Gauge, when you go into that mode, when you learn to trait Shroud Gauge, the duration under Shrouded and the stacks of Lemore Shroud will be displayed, as you can see here. Lemore Shroud stacks can be used to execute several actions such as Void Reaping and Communio, acquired at level 90. So those are the Lemure Shroud stacks. That's what you want and that's what you need. When you learn to trait Enhanced Shroud, Void Shroud will be gained when stacks of the Lemure Shroud are used. These can be used to execute several actions such as Lemure Slice and Lemure's Scythe. So in action, this doesn't tell you too much, but as you can see, these are the Lemure Shroud stacks. And then you will, with the trait Enhanced Shroud, Void Shroud will be gained. So these kind of purple things are Void Shrouds. When stacks of Lemure Shroud, the blue, are used. These can be used to execute other actions on top of the ones you already have. And then you also have your simple mode gauges as well. So that is both Sage and I was about to say 6 paths. That's Sage and Reaper. Just going over some of these items. Now, Reaper looks super interesting. You want to make sure that you're on top of your A game when you're learning this. I wouldn't jump into a dungeon right away on either Sage or Reaper. Get some feeling. Do some, maybe take them into, if you can, obviously you can, but take them into Zadnor, get some feeling for up to 80 leveling as far as once you get to 71, and then, yeah, go from there. You'll be good to go. So again, I want to just thank you guys for looking. Again, I'll be live streaming on multiple platforms if you made it this far. On the release day, and we're gonna be streaming a lot over the weekend, so I'll see you guys there. And again, always follow your ninja way. Peace, y'all. See you later.